How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the FlurrySports Podcast. Happy holidays. We missed you last week. Where were you? We were looking for you everywhere. Who knew Christmas was last week? We were at a bar. Who knew Christmas was last week? We forgot to mention no show. And that's not because of we knew we were off. It's more so in the middle of being off. We're like, oh, there's not a show going on at this current moment like there usually is. Our bad. You know what? Hand up. That's on me. That one's on me. And now that is out of the way, welcome back to the FlurrySports Podcast. Also, let's talk about this that I'm realizing in real time. Last podcast of 2024. Yeah. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. What is this fucking year, man?
Well, okay, that's so funny only because we just spent the last 15 minutes going through the year. So it's like we were prepping for it.
You know what? There usually isn't much time between Christmas and New Year's, but this current one seems like even less.
Famously pretty uniform amount of time, but it has gone fast. But you know what? It's the holiday season. I think folks were hopefully grateful for a break from the award-winning podcast with their loved ones, as we had, because as you mentioned, I think we both had the same thought, which was it wasn't like we couldn't connect. We were literally same time staring across from each other just at a bar.
Should have gone live on Twitter or something. We could have done that. That would have been a nice little, just set the phone in the middle of the table, I guess. I don't know.
I won't say anything besides this, but we literally should have just put Dan on. Just had Dan give us his life update. That should have been the show.
That should have been. And you know what? Once that's in the rear view mirror, maybe that's something. Once he can look back and laugh, I think then that seems like a great story.
Or at least he could talk us through Piano Man.
That's, you know what? After post-op, that might be the perfect time to do so.
That's so true.
Kyle, any questions in the chat, definitely drop in, or comments. We'll be talking a lot about 2024. Jake has a doppelganger. We'll get to that in a second. Kyle, I see you dropped in with a fantasy question. Just so you know, any chance we sit T-Bone, play Pearsall, I wouldn't do that. But if you would like to, I think go ahead. But no.
I like that.
Jake, people are wondering, is this the true Jake Osmond or is this somebody else? Please let me know who you were mistaken for, because I'm hearing it for the first time as everybody else is.
That's right. Well, so I was, speaking of Piano Man, Zach, I was at karaoke, which
Billy Joel.
Which someone there did sing Piano Man, which was like, they did the karaoke asshole thing where they were like, I don't know if I've ever sang this one before. And then they just
screw you.
Crushed it. Yeah, it's like, boo. He also, I will say though, this is the same guy who gave you the lookalike. So that's why I'm talking about him here. But he did, in his song, he goes, anyone who gives me a fist bump, I'm going to buy that person a round of shots. I gave him a fist bump. I was like, cool. He goes to get the round of shots, tries to not pay for them. He literally got the shots, walked away. And the person was like, are you paying for these? And I'm like, I am not. And he walked again. And I was like, hey, man, have you paid yet? He said, nope. And then he walked away again. And I literally was like, 1 second, turned to him and said, hey, man, where's your credit card? I was like, yeah, we're paying right now. So he did it, came over, and he said, he was not in a bad mood. He was like, oh, thanks so much. He's like, you know who you remind me of? And I went through my mind, Zach. I'm like, who's this guy going to compare me to? I would say the most frequent ones I get in this type of setting are usually big white men who have died from cocaine use. So I was really expecting. It's always John Candy, Belushi, or Farley. My favorite one I've ever gotten is you remind me of a young Chris Farley, because that's the only one we got.
Yeah, exactly. Not like old Chris Farley.
Yeah, 100%. I got that at a wedding once. It was like, but a young one. And I was like, oh, so before he died. Great.
Yeah.
Not the dead one. But I was like, cool, what's it gonna be? Honestly, don't know how I feel about it, but what a pull. I was like kind of proud of it. He goes, like the really nice white guy from Remember the Titans? And I was like, I was like, I know exactly who you're talking about. And thank you. I was like, I don't know. That guy kind of puts in the work,
Have you seen present day him?
Oh, that's, by the way, goals.
I mean, no kidding. He is a different human than he was when he was singing gospel music down in an interracial football team. That was a different time for him. That is an interesting poll. Not a terrible one.
No, I'm in on it. He's a nice guy. That dude's still alive.
True. Yeah, true. The karaoke setting makes sense, I guess, with that too.
And guy was blitzed, goes without saying. Guy was not super present. So I was like, that's a good poll. I've seen Remember the Titans. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You look like Petey.
All night. Yeah, it is Petey.
No, Petey is Donald Faison, I think.
Oh, shit. You're right.
I'm just saying, you look like Donald. You look like Petey.
Sunshine, is that you?
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I got my standards out. I sang Friends in Low Places, classic.
Yeah, that's a good karaoke one.
Never Gonna Give You Up, because everyone just joins in.
Sure.
No one cares. You sound bad. Then I told a buddy, I was like, I'll do a duet with you. My buddy was a little in the wind, so I was like, all right, whatever you want. He went up there and fucking requested Live Like You Were Dying by Tim McGraw.
Okay. That brings the party up.
Well, kind of hits, to be honest. Like everyone, I was like, this is kind of sad, but everyone gets in there on Bull Named Fu Manchu.
That's true. Yeah, that's not a terrible one, actually. That's unexpected.
It was very unexpected. Only thing more unexpected was the high notes at the end. That I was not ready for, but otherwise, good song.
Great. Sounds like a good time overall. Unlike this sports year, Jake, after looking back at a lot of
good time.
Thank you. Yeah, master of segues. We got it nailed down. That's what this show is really about. It's 50% segues, 40% karaoke stories, 10% we get to sports. 2024, we're looking back at a lot of sports stories, and if anyone in the chat, I see Gary, you're there. What's up? Why do we play fantasy football? Do we just thrive on toxic relationships? Bingo. We like to be hurt. It's the best part of it all. We're Wisconsin sports fans, so we like the journey. I will say that we love the hope. We cling to the hope, as Jake knows from Ted Lasso. It is the hope that kills you. It kills us all.
Not the thesis of that show. Famously, that's the conclusion.
That's true. Spoiler alert. But you know what? Wisconsin sports, that is kind of the theme for Wisconsin sports. Is it not? And this
I've got a question for you off of that.
Fucking terrible, which we will go through in a second. What's that?
That's so true. To Gary's point, if you don't win your league, where do you want to finish? Because second's fucking awful.
I agree.
Claire and I are about to win our league, and I've realized I'm both in the best and worst spot possible, because I'm either about to win or lose to my fiance.
Sure, that's
bad times are coming. Second does suck, McAdoo.
Luke brought this up in the Flurry chat, because I think his specific question initially was, what's worse, second or last? And
last.
What hurts more, I think, is what he said. And I was just thinking, you have to try to be last place. I've never been last, so I don't know. But also, that's a slow burn. If you're in last, it didn't creep up on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've been there. Second hurts. I'm third in a lot. Third hurts because you lose before the championship and then you play well. Because then you're like, okay, what is this for?
Yeah.
What's the point? McAdoo says last if you have to do a punishment. Chris says second place is the worst. Again, I don't know if I've been in very few leagues where last has an actual punishment. We should do that. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I would say if I can't win, give me fifth. Whatever, I've won the toilet bowl or whatever. I wasn't in, I got hot at the end. Yeah.
I'd rather miss the playoffs than lose in the championship, says Chris. I think I only agree with that if there's no second place prize.
True.
Because a lot of them have a second place prize, at least. You make the championship, you get something. Usually third place, you get your money back. And like I said, I'm going to win third place in many leagues. Don't care. Keep it. I don't need this reminder. It just feels like shit. Second does suck, though. It's you went the whole way. You
Yeah.
spent too much time on this. No matter what amount of time you spent on it, you feel like it's too much at that point. It was all for nothing.
And
It's
I
just
would
dumb.
say in most leagues I've been in, second place is like that's been the wagon all year. Like whoever
Yeah,
finishes second,
true.
it's like, are you kidding me? Jamar Chase.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Jamar Chase, Kaimi Fairbairn. He's got to be the most hated kicker in the NFL right now. Like, how do you go crazy every week and then get a goose egg? Terrible.
Yeah. Only thing stopping more people from yelling out his name in anger is being named Kaini.
True. And you can't say Kaimi and be upset. At some point, you're like, you know what? I think he's Hawaiian. Like, that's pretty cool. Good vibes. Good vibes all around.
Butker still exists. True. Is more hated.
True. I'm come around. Not my battle to fight, but you know what? He's fine.
You know who is the most hated kicker in the NFL? To tie this something that happened this week, and then we'll get to 2024. Most hated kicker in the NFL is the Bengals kicker by specifically Joe Burrow.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Don't you fucking cost me. Yeah.
They handled that as badly as they possibly could have that entire game. And then they get rewarded with a win. Congratulations.
So, right. Mike Tomlin's going to put him to sleep this week. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think so too. We all can hope. But Russell Wilson also still exists. And Russ will let the other team hang around.
I maybe we'll end on this. We'll end on the NFL talk, get back to it, but maybe a little tease for that. I am rooting for the Bengals. Chaos. I think they're the most dangerous possible wild card team. I want them, so that's all it is. I think them getting in is a little bit more fun than, I don't know, Bo Nix and the boys are trying. I can't have it be the Dolphins.
No. Screw the Dolphins. If the Dolphins make it, we'll at least know Tua won't show up because it's a big game. So he will just stay his ass home. Yeah, if the Bengals were eliminated in week 18 this week, if they had no shot to make the playoffs, guaranteed he's healthy enough to go.
Yeah. The difference between Tua missing games due to concussions and missing games due to any other reason has to be studied. That dude would take a bullet rather than miss a head-related game. But oh my God, any other body part, you got to rest the moneymaker.
Screw that, dude. I agree the Bengals are more exciting than the Broncos. I think Broncos are a better team, but I don't need to see Audric Estime plot his way to a fucking touchdown again. Who cares? This
is maybe the most fun version of Joe Burrow. I don't know if he could get more spiteful.
Yeah, that's true. I just hate Zach Taylor with a burning passion. He's so bad at his job.
I just thought of this, though, because they'd make it in. They'd be 7 seed. Oh, we need that now because, Zach, that matchup guaranteed would be Joe Burrow absolutely ripping the heart out of Josh Allen. There's no other way the game would end. No way. Josh Allen would have the second greatest game of all time again and would lose 52-49. So we got that to look forward to. But things we can look back on, Zach. Last year's playoffs. I want to start there.
Okay.
We take you back 2024. We're going to do a little game here in a second. In a second, I'm also going to give you just your big highlight from the year. But let's go back. NFL playoffs a year ago. What stands out to you? Is it the Chiefs win? Is there another team in the playoffs that speaks to you? Because I have one right away that I don't know if other people are going to talk about.
Talking about last year?
Yeah, last year's playoffs. McAdoo, hang in there. I won't hand you the news.
He's a big Bills fan.
Oh. Don't worry. They got it.
Yeah, they won't lose.
A famously reliable team. Yeah.
They're fine. I feel like the biggest story, obviously at the end, I suppose the Chiefs got close to talk about as much.
Yeah.
The biggest story was the Cowboys' fucking choke job.
100%. Okay, we are the greatest sports game I've ever watched.
Yeah, for sure. We're Packer fans, so that helps, but yeah.
Only better if you watch it only through the lens of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader show that came out this year.
Oh, really? Do they just get more suicidal as the game goes, or what?
100%. That episode where they're gearing up to it, it's like playoffs, and literally these cheerleaders being like, "This is like sad, right?" Like they cut to them and they're like, "This feels terrible." Kind of awesome. So there's that. Otherwise, because you went that round, I didn't know if you would. I think the other storyline is, I think it's continued, so maybe it kind of fades away. But it's the Lions. I mean, they overcome Stafford, and then, they choke away a game against the 49ers. But I think they're kind of the story of last year's playoffs. So it's just, as long as we were talking about the NFL, I think it's interesting how all those teams are still kind of in it. I don't know if there's any teams that were really, well, the 49ers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, besides the most glaring exception, a lot of continuing stories, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, then I suppose the Eagles ending the season, it's such a contrast. They ended the season as badly as they possibly could have, limped into the playoffs and just were terrible. This year,
and then Hard Knocks happened, and
that helped them out quite a bit. Boy, that
we're getting to that. That might be out our game.
Okay, good. That clip of Mara just being like, Saquon's our most popular player by far. I will not be able to sleep at night if he goes to Philadelphia. Like, that's the only thing I want you to know. Don't let that happen. And then now this year, so this week, it sounds like they're probably going to sit Saquon, but that would rob us of the most beautiful thing of all time, which is Saquon setting his single game record against the Giants, which already happened, and then breaking the NFL all-time record against the Giants again. That would have been the most beautiful thing of all time. But it sounds like they're probably going to sit him or at least limit him, which stinks. That's so dumb. Can't do that. Let him go out and run.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm looking up as we talk here. How close is he? Or did he break the record yesterday?
No, he's about 100 away. I think he's like 101 or something.
Okay. Yeah,
he's far enough away where it's like you can't just say he's playing the first half and then he's going to get it. There's a chance he, has to play the whole game.
Yeah, I hope they give it to him. Here's what I would do. If he gets 75 and a quarter, let him play.
For sure. Yeah. At the end of the first, if he's got like 20 yards, like, okay, read the room. We need you for the playoffs.
But if he's over halfway in the first quarter, let him eat.
I play Wildcat. Just let him be out there running the ball every play.
It is a bad time to play the Giants right now, though.
They are hot, and they have found their guy.
Whatever Drew Lock has to do to not be replaced, he's putting the team on his freaking back. Dude. Who's got two thumbs and won't be playing with Shadur Sanders? This guy.
Giants fans want him dead because he cost them the draft spot. Colts fans want him dead because he just put up 40 plus against the fucking
to cost them the playoffs. Yeah.
The Colts, man.
Pat McAfee rescinded his season tickets. Did you see that tweet?
Yeah. I mean, that was going on for a while, but they've made him like the outspoken enemy, which is insane. He was like the only person giving them anything. But like 2 or 3 years ago, they went into the post-Urban Meyer Jaguars 3 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
And lost to miss the playoffs. That was during their Hard Knocks season. Their in-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
And then now they do this with the Giants, who arguably were the worst team in the league because of Drew Lock just going bananas.
Yeah. It's insane. What NFL teams are doing to not have the first overall pick is crazy. But Zach, is that your highlight for 2024? Before we get into my game, I want you to give me what is your sports highlight for 2024?
Again, has to be the worst year of sports I've seen in a while. Here's a question. Who won the NBA Finals?
Okay, so no, let's do it. Don't look it up. Time out.
I don't know.
This was a facet of the game I was going to do. I'm going to run you through.
Oh, I know who it is.
Okay, we were going to do this anyway. So Zach, start with the NBA, but you're going to give me the winners in the major sports. So who won the NBA Finals this year?
Okay, Celtics won. I don't know who they beat.
They beat the Mavs, I believe.
Really?
Because didn't the Mavs beat the Timberwolves?
I think you're right. That's wow. I'm surprised. Okay, I think you're right.
Correct.
That just shows you how big of a difference there was between the Celtics and everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, especially and I would have told you it's like the Nuggets weren't there. Crazy, because they got
Nuggets, Suns.
Yeah, so that one check. Who won? This is the most recent. Who won the World Series? Not a baseball fan, but I think you got this.
Oh. Yes, I do. Okay. It was that loser Shohei and the Dodgers, right?
It was that loser Shohei. He's a gambler, man.
They beat the Yankees, right?
Yeah. Big series.
Okay.
More notable than the NBA
is young. And Juan Soto's young. We didn't know that.
Juan Soto's young. Yes.
Would have pegged him for 33-34. Who knew?
That's right. The trick I threw in here, Zach, I had to look this up. I didn't know. Who won the Stanley Cup?
Okay. This one is tough. It wasn't the Panthers.
Wrong.
I don't think. It was the Panthers?
Yeah, sorry. I'm not going to let you talk yourself out of it right away. It was the Panthers.
Okay. Is that back-to-back then? Or
nope,
no?
First one. They lost last time.
Really?
To the Knights.
Right, yeah. Okay. I think I was going to go with the Knights. So, okay, Florida won. That's right.
Yeah.
Really quiet. Are they quiet right now? Like, I haven't heard a single thing about the Panthers this entire year.
Well, that's so true. By the way, maybe it's because the only reason it was kind of on my radar is I'm slightly into hockey right now because the Wild are playing so well. But
they beat the Oilers.
Correct.
I think. Okay, correct. Not the Knights. Because
Knights won a year ago. They did not return this year. Correct.
Right. And I was rooting for McJesus up there. That's right.
And the Panthers, I believe, got up to a 3-0 lead and got a little dicey.
Back. Yeah. That's right.
Because them and the NBA, two terrible finals at the same time.
Yes.
So yes. And then Super Bowl is of course
Chiefs. Yep, Chiefs got that.
All right, college. I've got 3 for you here.
Okay.
We'll start with the layup, I think. Who won college football's championship last year?
Yeah, that is a layup. That is obviously
maybe not.
Washington lost.
That's crazy that you know who lost it.
I'm a big Penix and a Dudesay fan. They lost. It wasn't at Georgia. They didn't make it in. Was it Alabama? It has to be Bama.
No. There's a big. This team won so big their coach had to leave. That all happened this year, Zach. Michigan won. Jim Harbaugh got the fuck out of town. Yeah.
They're not even on my fucking radar. That's right. Okay.
Crazy. Right. Yeah. Big Ten supremacy. So Michigan won that. Men's college basketball.
That was UConn again.
Back to back. Yeah. And then women's college basketball. LSU.
I was going to go South Carolina. Yeah, I knew it wasn't Iowa because still would see replays every day.
100%. It was LSU, South Carolina finals. Oh, crazy eyes. Crazy jacket.
Oh.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, really, the post Angel Reese Tigers won? That's crazy. What a quick turnaround. Athletes.
Yeah.
Continue.
She was still there.
She was. And boy, was she good.
She was good. I didn't ask you about the WNBA. You want to throw that one out there? I thought it was tough.
Was it the Aces or was it the Liberty?
Oh, Liberty.
Okay. Had to be one of them. There's 2 good teams.
And you've named them. So Zach, that's the year to glance. Glimpse. But
either way, bad year.
Either way, bad year. I think my favorite thing that happened this year, there are moments in the Olympics that are just awesome. But
Olympics they kind of got, I don't know. Was the Olympics too Mickey Mouse? What was it? They didn't have that spark.
I think the first week rocked, and then track and field was a little bleh because we just won everything.
That's true. And we had that Noah Lyles doofus. Like, he can't be. I wish he wasn't our guy.
He's a heel.
He's a heel, but not a good one. He's a heel to us, not to everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. That's true. Yeah, like, you know, the men's team won, but it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm honestly gonna go with the best sports thing I watched all year. Okay, WrestleMania.
WrestleMania was great.
WrestleMania was great. Great year for WWE. So that's my actual answer. Outside of that, off-season Hard Knocks is the best sports thing I've watched all year.
I mean, it was good for what it was, for sure.
100%. There's no funnier sports moment all year than seeing Dable debate how fast he could run a 40-yard dash.
Right. It was great. It's just there's so much that just I hate watched most of it.
Awesome. So good. I spent the whole time Claire being like, should he be saying that? No. He should not be saying that. Crazy. But I think that for me is the best thing I watched. And to your point, very controversial. We'll get to it. But it's, you know, it was a thing that happened.
No one's being punished for like anything that happened. The Giants are going to run it back. They're like, can we be Hard Knocks off season again? Let's run it back and show you how we do.
Well, Zach, someone's got to make sense of 2024, and I've decided it's going to be you. There's no.
I think I figured out my favorite sports story of the year, by the way.
Oh, tell me.
Uncrustables.
Oh, that's correct. That's correct. How did that not make the Athletics list?
I don't know. Like, that was, people didn't give it as much attention, praise, adoration, any descriptive that we did, because we were just like, we are like, oh yeah, everyone's like, that's a crazy number, and then they move on. No. Mm-mm. Let's focus. Let's put it in perspective.
It as a reminder for folks who weren't with us at the time, A, go back and watch that episode where we really dissect it, but B, the Broncos go through about 780 Uncrustables a week.
I don't even remember the math. Is that true? Is it the
that's
week or
right.
is it a month? Okay.
No, that's 1 week because it broke down to 70 a day.
That's right. And then the actual article also had incorrect numbers, which was insane.
Yeah, they added a 0 to everything. But the breakdown was correct. But they had 700. Some teams had like 0. The average ended up being like 200 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it's like, that was maybe one of my favorite episodes we did too, because I just like it's one of my favorite takeaway questions we ever had, which is, how does Sean Payton feel about Uncrustables?
Yeah.
Like, did he show up? Yeah. It was like, what are we doing? Or
did it come with him? Right. Yeah. Did that come with the regime change or not?
Yeah. Also,
the Walmart owners own the Broncos. Why aren't they using the Walmart brand Uncrustables? And I think that is the biggest, promotion for Uncrustables of all time. Like, we don't want that great value shit. Get it out of here.
It's certainly the biggest slight against Walmart's Uncrustables.
Has to. Squares? Remember the founders? They looked up at the moon.
I forgot about that. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. By the way, what I wanted to do, I just ran out of time because we're true artists. I wanted to go through and give you like my favorite names of our shows, one from each month, and be like, what were we talking about? It's too hard because they're all like one-off bits from the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the one, the Uncrustable one was something about the moon. And then there's one in January. Hold on, I think I still have it up. It was the only one I looked into because I had to listen to the whole thing to find it. Because of course it's like Brazil in that way. Do you know?
What a dumb name. I know. I have no idea. Is that a quote from me?
It's a quote from me, my dumbass.
Okay. Okay. What was it?
We were talking, it's so dumb. We were talking about the Rose Bowl parade, and I said it's like this big carnival. They have once a year. It's like Brazil in that way.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
So stupid.
That is
great name pull by you. So maybe that's something we can do some other time. But it was going to take more effort than I was anticipating.
I'm looking at. Did we not? Oh, the Smuckers has sponsored the NFL this season. That was the Uncrustable. We could have done better. I could have done better. That's not me.
Grok hate Zach was good.
That's true. That was despicable. That was not okay.
You gave it 3 chances, and every time it said, I prefer Jake. Those are good. So big year for us, by the way. I was going to end with this, but I'll say we both got engaged.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
FlurrySports itself took off. We're working on a bunch of different things. It's been a good year.
Great year. 2025 looks to be even bigger, though. So very excited for things we're creating.
Yeah, I'm excited too. If folks watching on YouTube, which everyone should, support the channel, I've got a new camera. So new things are coming. So by the way, I'm working on my eye contact. So we're working on it. And I've
to glow up.
I've just broken broadcaster rule number 1 by drawing attention to it. But that said, Zach, I'm going to bring attention to something else, which is our game for today. I've got a choice for you in different categories. I'm going to give you 2 sports things that happened this year. You're going to pick the winner of these categories, okay? So these are 2 headlines that happened. I'm going to start with the layup that'll give you kind of the sense of the whole game. So, Zach, what was the bigger, or should I say, who was the bigger female phenom of 2024? Your options
This is my opinion?
This is your opinion.
Okay.
I would say the pretty obvious pick, which is Caitlin Clark, college basketball star, omnipresent snub of the Olympic team. Shall we forget?
Not good enough.
Ire of the WNBA. Suddenly everyone hates her, everyone loves her, people are getting fired. And then is she a bigger phenom, Zach? Then of course, Australian break dance star Kangaroo Lady.
She really milked that as much as she could. The more you look into
her way into it. Yeah.
She did for sure. She created the whole thing and then rigged it so she got in, which is awesome. Like that is, and then she made a mockery of it when she got there. So a little bit, and then US already announced way beforehand, we're not doing fucking breakdancing for our Olympics. So and she's like, oh, bet they regret it now, baby. No, we do not.
That was my favorite thing. Was there were like several reasons why she made a big empathy announcement of you've bullied me so much, I'm not returning to breakdance at the next Olympics. And everyone's like, A, the whole thing was you weren't going to make it anyway. B, they're not having it.
Right.
So it's nothing really for me to feel bad about. You weren't coming back anyway unless you learned how to play flag football.
That's true. I appreciate her trying to make us feel bad, though. I like that. Caitlin Clark is the bigger female phenom of 2024. She was, I don't know if you could really argue that she was the biggest athlete.
She was. The only debate about her is how you feel about her.
Right. Like in terms of, she took over everything. And, again, is that her, is that sports media as a whole? Probably the latter, but she was fucking everywhere.
Yeah. I think when we look back, the dumb thing is not seeing anything she does as a positive. She was only helpful to the sport. It's such a dumb thing. To think women's basketball fans are divided by the biggest star they've ever had.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, but speaking of divided, Zach, I've got an interesting one. I think I know which way you're going to go, but we had a couple sets of coach changes, departures in some of the bigger leagues. I want to know which ones feel like bigger news long-term to you, which is on the NFL side, and football side, I should say, some of the most tenured coaches in history finally step away. So Saban stepped down from Alabama, 2024. Immediately, by the way, becomes a joke, 1 for 1, missed the playoffs. Boo. 2, Bill Belichick out of New England in at UNC by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Has the
Insane.
greatest YouTube sports show besides ours of all time. Not going to be seeing it again, probably.
I know, it's insane.
Actually, I just thought about that. Do you think he's going to be able to still do it since he's in college?
Which specific show?
His one that he does, well, like they all
with
work.
Underdog.
Underdog.
No, I work for Underdog. It's already been announced. Inside.
Wow.
Maybe this is breaking news, I guess. He is no longer with us.
I
didn't know I was going to break news today, but that is a fact, actually.
I did. By the way, I knew you worked there. I just, but you're on the end, and I appreciate that. Hopefully, you're still on the end after breaking this news. But
I guess so. Not sure if that's public or not, but it is now.
Boom. There you go. I think it is. So those guys out. More sudden changes, Zach, on the NBA basketball side. So you've got the football changes on the basketball side. Let's not forget the shit show that happened in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, who switched coaches? That was, Doc. Doc, that's ongoing, I guess.
100% going to interim, going to Doc, and then JJ Redick coming in from the podcast world. True. He really earned it.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to say a podcast host can't become a NBA head coach.
So true, but you got to pick it right.
I got to keep my name in the hat. Never know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking at you. Kings just fired their head coach. What is the worst possible situation that could come out of me being named the Kings head coach for the rest of the season? Does anybody notice?
No
Only
way.
Positive. First order of business. Fuck that stupid beam.
I knew it. You're out on the beam. Out on the beam.
Or we're just going to shine it directly. We're going to make it a spotlight that we can move. Like, I don't want it to be straight up in the air where the aliens can find us. Okay. As soon as we start doing that, all of a sudden we got these orbs floating around. It might be their fault.
Correlation, causation, 100%. Yeah. I will say, I feel like I want to keep that clip for if they ever hired you. I feel like all it would take is one PR video of you in the beam. Then you're sold. Like it'd be like, beam me up. And then you're in there. Okay, we can keep it. But yeah, so what's the bigger news? I think, on one hand, it feels a little obvious because the football names are bigger. But I think, the NBA has kind of been a shit show all year. And it kind of feels like these two moves are a little encapsulating of that.
I truly don't know the significance of any NBA coach being there or being away other than maybe Pop. Maybe the Celtics coach is pretty influential. I don't even remember his name. He's from West Virginia. But like NBA, I don't know. NBA could do just about anything. And I'm not sure if it's going to move the needle one direction or the other. Like the people who watch NBA are going to continue to watch NBA. And if you don't, you'll get the highlights on Twitter if you want them.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, I think, going from college to or NFL to college is massive. He has already talked about wanting to completely change the entire landscape of the sport and make it different and better as a pathway to the NFL. I think that's great. Which is great because NFL football, this is the worst season we've ever had. It's terrible football. I'm counting down the days until Nick Saban's his defensive coordinator. Wouldn't that be insane?
He's got so many former Patriots coaches. He's got to get jobs first, though.
True. Patricia's for sure there. We know. And by the way, Patricia could do it all. He was offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator.
I think they've already announced Patricia. Or did they announce Lombardi? He took someone with him already.
Lombardi's the GM.
Okay. It was Lombardi. I saw that. Okay.
But Patricia's for sure there. McDaniels has to come. Like, got to get the band back together. Saban would be awesome, though.
Saban would be great.
SEC would hate him.
Eberflus. Bring him in.
Sure. Why not?
Saban, I think Vrabel.
Vrabel would be great. Sounds like he might be the new Patriots head coach. Gerard Mayo, one and done. Get him out. Seen enough.
OJ Mayo. Ripperooski.
No kidding.
My real storyline of 2024. Yeah, get him out just so he can get his goddamn name right. But no, I agree. I think I also think, to talk about Saban for a bit, I think it's the closing of an era. This comes a week after he got so pissed at Shane Gillis for calling him out for paying everybody. But it's like, I think the test of time is going to show, did Saban know the music was playing for him? Or was he just not wanting? I'd be curious if he could have thrived in that and just didn't want to, because it would have been a different level of, it would have been less consistent. That's where I'm currently at. Like, he still would have been successful. I just don't think you can wrap off dynasties anymore.
Correct. I agree. I think truly what I'm gathering and what I imagine, I just don't think he wanted to fucking deal with the transfer portal with how that is.
Yeah.
That is, it's obnoxiously just unstructured. It's just terrible.
I wonder how much Bill Belichick will do well. I wonder how he will feel about it, when what I see is, I think it's less a question of like Dabo protesting the transfer portal because he clearly like didn't understand it and like that it was a thing, versus like, I think Bill Belichick will understand it fully as he does all things related to football. I get the sense from Bill Belichick that it might drain the part he likes most out of it, which is, you could build a great team, and listen, man, you could be the best coach ever, and I still might leave you for $10 million.
Yeah. I mean, I think Bill Belichick has a few outs in his contract as well. If he's just pissed off enough where he's like, I'm just going to leave.
And
but
it won't be a question of good enough. It will be a question of like, will he enjoy it? I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be so weird because I can't remember which month it
honey.
is. And maybe just keep getting younger. Might as well. He's on a campus now. That's where one of his scouts is doing. They're just searching.
You called that the week before it got announced, by the way. You're like, he's going to be a menace on a college campus.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Are you kidding me? It's an odd situation. I don't know, because I think it's April. It might be before that, when college is going to announce the like salary cap, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of things are going to change with that. At some point, the contracts just have to be structured differently, because right now it's on a case-by-case basis. It's on a, I suppose, brand-by-brand basis, because I assume, again, all this is assumptions, but we saw like Cam Ward and a bunch of these players play one half of their bowl games. I can only assume it's because they had to start a bowl game to get money for their NIL. So I assume that's the only reason why they played at all.
Yeah.
So, but now we need like actual structured contracts where it's like, hey, you got a 2-year deal with North Carolina. Like, that's what it's going to have to be. You can't it can't be a year-by-year thing where you're a free agent after every year. It's too unstructured and bad.
I think and this could be its own show, so I won't try and go too deep into it. I just think the bigger question will be, how interested is the NCAA in fixing it? In the past, I was confident they didn't want to, because they wanted to be able to show they could go back. Yeah. You know, so now is there enough push that it's like, okay, we'll do it. We'll fix it. You know, like, we can't even, like, Marshall couldn't play their freaking game, you know?
Yeah. That's bad. The timing of the portal for sure needs to be different. Like, that just needs to get changed completely. There should be like a free agency period after the season or something.
Marshall got a whole movie about how they were able to replace their team at when they needed to, and they couldn't get past the transfer portal.
I know, they were the most prepared for this, it seems, and they could not get that done. The whole thing with college football, especially even versus college basketball, like, the whole thing is about development. That's why you're not able to do one and done. So now that you can do one and done with specific programs, you would assume that completely takes away development again. So if they want to stick to one principle in its development, and it's also the one principle that Bill Belichick keeps preaching, and probably there's probably a reason for that. They can really hang their hat on development and make every decision and point back to the big development sign, essentially.
Yeah.
And hopefully they do that.
I'd be curious if they even, this isn't the answer I want them to get to, but would they allow programs to mandate, like, you signed a contract with us saying you would, basically a contract superseding the portal. Yeah. And then it'd be up to the player to decide if they want to opt into that or not. But I could see a Belichick wanting to do that, of like, if you're here for, 2 years.
We just need to see how the salary cap works, because because every school's going to have money. NIL, I still don't know. I don't have a clear answer if NIL is completely separate or not. And if it's completely separate, because with the salary cap, that means yearly deals. Yeah. So it should be structured on like a multi-year basis, I would assume. Correct. I don't know. If it's not, then what's scholarships? Like, you can't recruit a kid out of college and be like, hey, you have a 1-year scholarship. That doesn't work.
What are boosters? Like, how is there any separation? So, no, they got to figure that out. But Zach, let's go to something a little more lighthearted.
Okay.
Hearing how I word this, it's not bigger, it's better. What was the better waste of time this last year? Okay. I think both were enjoyable in their own ways, but they were both waste of time. Better waste of time. Option A, off-season Hard Knocks.
True. Very, very true.
Option B, NBA's first 2 in-season tournaments.
I don't even know. It's hard for me to award the in-season tournament anything, I think. No. And this one was even less important than the first one. They ran it back. They're like,
cop. Yeah.
They said, yes, obviously there's going to have to be some changes. And then they got to the offseason. They're like, you know what? Nah, we perfected it. We're good.
We said we were going to work on something, and now I can't remember what it is.
What? We didn't write it down. Okay. Let's just try it again, and let's pay attention this time just to know if we need any changes. So I'm not going to reward them with that. Offseason Hard Knocks was a great waste of time. It was a great use of time at the same time, though, because it was enlightening for many. It was perfect entertainment.
Yeah.
As you've talked about. Like, it's the look inside the NFL building that everybody has always wanted, but it's not what we wanted to see.
I know. Some of it is like, we've talked about this. Like, if they focus on the right parts, give me more combine, give me more draft.
Even scouting stuff was fun until, there was a weird little montage of running data of the free agent running backs. That was weird.
It was weird. Like, the stuff they always do in Hard Knocks, right? Because they got to make the team they're covering look good. So it's like they're highlighting the addition the Giants are making, like they're gonna do
kind of. Yeah, but it was like, we don't need to go with Saquon because we have this free agent, this free agent, this free agent. Then they're like running the numbers and like this weird montage thing, like
the poker analogy.
The one thing we were missing to make it true Hard Knocks is if we had one scout take a break for a day and go learn to juggle. That's the Hard Knock story we usually get.
To your point, the best episodes were when we got more of the scouts and the other things, like on those episodes.
Talk about football. Yeah.
Less Joe Shade, to be honest.
No kidding. The issue with showing scouts is they're putting their name and their face on a lot of things.
100%. I almost think the way they did it was the way to go, where it's like they're just giving general analysis. Everything was positive.
Yeah.
On the scouting front. I'm surprised the part you've talked about, the part I thought was the coolest to watch, but I think it was brave isn't the right word. It's not brave to show the footage. I hate when people do stuff like that. It was brave of them to show this. No one was under fire, but it was it was, I think, daring of them to show Dable fucking grilling quarterbacks.
Love that.
It was though awesome, but I think they had to do an important job of Dable not making anybody look like idiots. which I'm
they
sure.
just cut it.
Yeah, 100%. And like not looking like an asshole, which I think Dable helps with because that's not what he's going for in those spaces. He's trying to see where they're at. But
and they framed it good enough where if you know what's going on, like there's quarterbacks that look better than others, but to your point, they didn't bury anybody.
No. I also thought it was before the season started, because I went back and rewatched it. I thought it was interesting of them to make Jaden Daniels look so good. They obviously didn't get the same amount of time with Caleb Williams, but it's
they were going to draft him
100% before knowing what was going on and everything else. They really it made Joe Shane look worse because we watched and we were like, yeah, I like Jaden Daniels too. He's like,
Shane's kid was like, you should draft him.
Yeah. And gave him a speech. He's like, you get one shot. They're never going to hire you again. So it's true. For me, that was the better waste of time, only because this year I truly couldn't even the NBA didn't even care about the in-season tournament.
NBA hasn't cared about its product in a while.
I know, man. I know. So they got to fix some stuff. But Zach, let's talk about. I've got a big 3 to finish on. So this is we've got 4 left. So
before I have one question, one wrestling question of where we were at the start of 2024, just to know what has happened this year.
My next one, here we go. My next one, Zach, is wrestling related. So it's a good time to ask you a question because it's better change of plan. Who had the better change of plan?
Answer it.
100%. Better change of plan. WWE brings back Rock. It decides not to use him in the main event of night 2 when they get public fan backlash. Or is the better change of plan Jim Harbaugh getting the fuck out of Dodge after he won a national championship?
Jim Harbaugh handled that so well.
It's unbelievable.
He won on all fronts.
Yeah.
He was incredible. Nobody. He's won. Fully. There's no bad publicity. The only bad publicity was that Connor Stallions guy who honestly every team should have a Connor Stallions. He was incredible. I don't think he did anything wrong, to be honest. For sure him. If you have The Rock, use The Rock. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Come on now.
And they kind of did, but I'm assuming your question is it related to Vince McMahon?
It always is, man.
It always is. So to start the year, and this is kind of crazy to give folks on how far we've come. To start the year, Vince is still in charge. They are finalizing the deal to TKO. Vince McMahon resigns from the TKO board of directors on January 26th.
Okay. So the start of the year is when he was gone for a bit and came back and was in charge again, right?
Yeah. So by the start of this year, he had been back in charge for about 4 months. He ended the year back in charge because he had cleared out the board of his company. He was quote unquote back to finalize the sale, back to finalize getting a new TV deal, which starts next week with Netflix. So
was he the reason for that?
He will tell you he was. I mean, they were interested in the product, and he made the claim that he was going to be better to negotiate those deals. I think the Netflix deal would have happened anyway. I do think he was helpful. Well, I guess I think he was helpful in getting the deal to TKO and getting that merger because he has connections to Dana White and everything else. I will say, whatever those connections were, TKO obviously made the decision to ditch them. So
for sure.
But to give folks a behind the scenes pick where we were coming into the year, Stephanie had resigned because she's like, I can't work for so we were like, oh, it's done. He's going to sell it to Saudi or he's going to, or sell it to Netflix and no one will be in charge. It'll just be new people or something. Sure. TKO was the only one. They're like, well, we'll bring you in, but we want Triple H to be head of creative. And he's like, oh, no problem. They're like, also, we're going to need to see your resignation. So he's out, replaced on the board of directors by The Rock.
That's right.
So The Rock comes in.
That's right.
because Cody wins the Rumble, which they decided, but Rock comes in is like, well, if I'm on the board of directors, I'll also be at Mania. So so Cody comes out, he's like, you know what? You can go for Roman, and everyone goes, boo. Why? And then they turn the Rock heel, which was the best. He should always be heel.
Yeah, of course.
Especially when he looks like that. He's never been bigger.
Correct. Yeah, he is the final boss now.
Yeah, we get him yelling at Cody's mom. We get everything else. So that move. So I don't know. I think for this question, I'm going to go Jim Harbaugh because it was clearly a plan. Whereas on the other side, Triple H did what Vince failed to do often, which was saw the obvious reaction and went with it. I guess the credit to give is like, I think it deserves credit. Like The Rock came in, is new director of one of the directors of the company is like, I'll main event. And Triple H's first thing of running it is no, you know, like I want you to do something else. So that deserves some credit, but yeah, what a difference a year makes for WWE.
And Jim Harbaugh.
And Jim Harbaugh, now savior of the playoff bound Chargers.
And they look good. They look fine.
They do look fine. I think they're boring to talk about, but they're correct. They could beat some people.
For sure. And Ladd McConkey is one of the best names in football.
Yeah. And one of my favorite trends recently, which is the viral, if his name was Ladarius, we'd be talking about it more. That's like all I've seen on my Facebook feed recently. But Zach, now we've got a pretty big final 3 questions, I think, to end on here.
Okay.
First, one you were very interested on coming into this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Bigger shock. Danny Jansen plays for 2 teams in the same at bat of a baseball game, or Flava Flav saves water polo.
That was wild. That was one I did not see coming. Okay, so I was randomly, before the show, we were looking through lists. Jake already had this written down. I stumbled upon it, playing for 2 teams in the same at bat. Explain to me what happened. There was a trade?
Yeah, it is perfect sports minutia. It is an awesome trivia question. Danny Jansen was the backup catcher for the Blue Jays, I believe, at the time, and then went to the Red Sox. Either order of that. All that matters is he was playing a game and was at bat when a rain delay occurred. So they had to cancel the game. Then they rescheduled it. Yeah, they had to reschedule it for after the trade deadline. Danny Jansen gets traded to the team they're playing, starts the game at catcher because it's a doubleheader. So now they need to play 2 catchers that day. So they sub out Danny Jansen, obviously, on the other team because he can't bat for you. He's on the other one. So in one at bat, Danny Jansen gets subbed out. So he was at bat, replaced, and then catching for his own at bat.
Okay, that makes sense. I didn't realize, I guess. So when they reschedule a game, they start where exactly it ended?
They do if it's like before a certain inning. Sometimes they just like canceled it, but otherwise, yes. If it's before, I believe, the 5th inning, they stop it exactly where it is. There's some like
did not know that
mandates on that, but yes, they stop it where it is. Usually it's not this specific, like they'll start the at bat over, which they kind of did here, like that kind of thing. But you know, substitutions happen all the time. This one was a bigger deal. And I will say the Red Sox played into it. They saw that he was at bat. We're like, well, let's put him in this game so we can get that weird stat to happen.
Sure.
So
that's interesting. That should have been something I knew playing fantasy baseball.
Should have got him double points that day.
I should have just known, like, oh, this game today, only 4 innings are going to be played. Never knew that.
Yeah, true. One, it's like it happens suddenly because of the weather. It's just weird. So yeah, okay. I get your point of like, yeah, it's not like they announced it. One, you probably wouldn't have noticed it because if anything, it was just extra innings because they played another game. You know,
right.
But you should have known all the Red Sox today get 4 other innings. Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, it shows 2 games, but like if I was picking somebody up, I'm like, oh, I could get 18 innings out of this guy. And
True.
No, I couldn't. Did I?
Yeah, that's true. So that's what happened there. And then Flava Flav decided
incredible.
The water polo team needed more attention.
And he did a good job. I think they should have given it more juice than they did, which goes back to the entire Olympics, I feel like.
Yes. And the reason I'm going to highlight it here, the Danny Jansen thing's fun. Flava Flav, like the more they talked about it, it's like he's a saint. He like financially covered most of them.
Yeah. He used all of his Flavor of Love money to like just get these water polo girls working one job, and that's water polo. That's
he
awesome.
Basically asked who's the least supported team at this Olympics, and they're like our water polo team, and he's like, great, give me a swim cap.
Yeah. Him in the pool is an all-time picture. That's incredible.
Him in the pool and him mingling with all the parents. So much small talk. That's the part I'm like, if I could interview him, that small talk had to be crazy.
We need Flava Flav and many others for the U.S. Olympics to do the exact same thing. Just sponsor all these small ass teams and just make them focus on winning gold. That's what we need.
By the way, I'm fine if we just continue to trend. It's all 90s hip hop stars, just like Snoop Dogg and Flava Flav.
Snoop was there too, which is crazy.
Yeah. The actual Captain America. Yeah, he was omnipresent. They had him doing freaking the horse stuff, equestrian.
Yes. Few people had a bigger 2024 than Snoop Dogg. I feel like if there's one thing, Snoop Dogg had a massive 2020, even in sports. He was commentating, fighting. He was. Did he do a WrestleMania thing this year?
No, that was last year. Our favorite, one of our favorite WrestleMania moments of all time. I will say this is a tease. I'm working on a list because WWE just wrapped up, sorry, this was about to be a dumb sentence. I was about to say WWE just wrapped up its first 25 years of the century like the rest of us didn't. But as we all did, I'm working on lists of the best 25 matches or whatever from the 25 years. And it was hard for me not to include things like Snoop Dogg versus The Miz or Johnny Knoxville.
You know what? If it's one of the best, it's one of the best. It doesn't matter who's in it.
It's true. It kind of matters who's in it. Snoop Dogg really called that on the fly, though, as he does most things. So
he does. Did it to perfection. So I think. How did you frame the question between Flava Flav and?
It's what was Jansen? More shocking.
Flava Flav was shocked. I mean, Jansen just started becoming shocking an hour ago when I found out this was a thing. Was this a big deal? Did they talk about it?
Big deal for baseball fans. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say it should have been. I just missed it, I guess, and that's most baseball.
But it was like it's not something you're gonna hear on SportsCenter, right? So it was like only on baseball shows. They're like, we're going to talk about this because it's a fun thing to end on. But
yeah, they should have been talked about more. It's fun.
I agree. And we're talking about it now, so we're doing our part. This is probably the one I should end on, but I like the other one better. So what is the bigger scandal, Zach?
Ooh.
Is it, I would say, the favorite in this category, but not necessarily the winner? Is it Shohei Ohtani betting scandal?
Mm-hmm. Him betting.
Yeah, true. Or is it flag planting?
I mean,
that was a thing. I don't know if we're gonna. That should be Malice at the Palace levels of crazy.
Yeah, it should have been. If there was more swinging at fans, it would have been better. But
true,
I mean, the fans
tried it
still
when
got
in the field that day.
A
lot happened.
It did. It was a weird.
Ohio's going to make it a law.
Supposedly, if that's true, fucking, you're out of the Big Ten.
So
you're too soft.
Welcome to the MAC.
Yeah, that is that's illegal. You can't do that here. That's ours. That's so dumb. I mean, that Shohei scandal was fucking everywhere.
As it should be. If anything, I'm looking back on it like, why did we stop talking about it?
We stopped because we're like, okay, we got to wrap this shit up.
Baseball was starting.
well, baseball was starting, but it was also like, okay, yeah. We got all the information. We don't need to talk about it anymore. We're good. Oh, this guy that you all hate, he did it. We're done.
Yeah.
There's more. There's more that for sure we don't know.
He had an ESPN article that he had to retract. That's my favorite part of all of that is he had an article typed up where he's like, I did it. It was me. Shohei paid some of the money to cover my ass. And someone went and said, no. So that's what we know now. That's the part that's crazy to me is one of two things happened, which is, and I think the thing that is more likable, it's just also illegal, is the more likable thing is that is what happened. He went to Shohei and said, I was stealing your money and I'm in deep gambling debt. And Shohei said, fuck you, dude. All right, I'll cover it because I've known you my whole fucking life and we're done. But not realizing that implicates him in U.S. law. Or what actually happened, which is this, not only did his translator steal all of his money, write and forge his names on his checks, then he agreed to do an interview where he said, my good buddy Shohei said it was fine.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have happened. He could have walked into the bank and said, I am Shohei Ohtani. You don't think you're racist. You think, like there's so many things that could have happened.
My friend signed these checks for me. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an endless number of things that could have happened, but we stopped the investigation and made it a very abrupt, weird ending because baseball's starting. And God forbid, everyone knows that first 20 games of baseball are the most important. So we can't have any distractions.
Well, and he's in South Korea answering questions about it. Pissed.
That's true.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. In the year where he made more money than God, like he got his weird 35-year deal or whatever.
Insane. Fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I think, if anything, that it is literally one of the biggest sports controversies of all time. I think it's only going to age bigger. The fact that this gets swept under the rug, this bookie fucking buried like 30 other athletes in this.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of, this was around the exact same time, I think, as the Cavs player who was throwing games or whatever, missing on purpose to profit.
I forgot that happened. That's a great one too.
That guy's the worst person on the planet. Like, that's terrible.
It's bad. Listen, there is a world, because we kind of wrote this off. I want to leave a world open where Shohei's interpreter might literally be evil. Like, because I think we were a little like, okay, he's got a gambling problem. Shohei knew about it. He was kind of enabling him, helping him get out. Listen, there are two realities here. Like you said, there's a lot of complications, but none of the reports have like Shohei involved the whole time. Shohei either came at the end to save his ass, or this dude fucking stole all his money and wrote his name on all of his checks and then lied about it.
Or Shohei was involved the entire time.
Not my boy. No way, dude. He got a new dog. He's going to be a father. I'm in.
I know. And he's so handsome. He's got the jawline.
He's
got a lot
so
of things.
handsome. Someone that handsome could do crimes.
I mean,
by the way,
O.J. Simpson would say otherwise.
Was this the year Alec Baldwin shot somebody?
No, that was a while ago.
That just wrapped up this year.
I think he finally got charged for it.
I will say, in researching this list, the most outdated thing that I almost included, luckily I fact-checked it, is I was going to be like, can you believe RG3 ran off the field because his wife was having a baby? 2022.
That was that?
Yeah,
that doesn't seem like it was that recent. Okay.
Yeah, 2022. Okay. So we're on different ends of it. Zach, last one for you. This is a fun trip down memory lane.
I hate RG3. Continue.
That's fair. He got clowned by Mina Kimes on Christmas.
Yes. I like Mina. Mina needs to take shots at people more. She's good at it.
Oh, I love Mina Kimes. I also love the game of everyone remembering who Monte Teo was. That was one of my favorite Christmas moments. It's like, oh, it's the girlfriend guy. So
I had to explain. I'm like, this guy was incredible, and then he got canceled for being a loser. I think it was my exact words. that I had to explain what I meant.
Another scandal that aged so funny. Like at first, everyone was like, he knew about it. He's in on it. In the hindsight, it's like, no, he's just
He
a fucking
wasn't the
dweeb.
Heisman because everyone's like, this guy's a dipshit. Like, we didn't know what catfishing was at the time. Like either he was evil for some reason. I don't even know how that's possible, but either he was evil or he's such a loser that he can't represent us.
Yeah,
That was the
like,
story.
The rumor at the time was that he made up the girlfriend to get sympathy and then killed her off. And it's like, no, he's clearly the victim. So crazy. But anyway, he was on TV and also got clowned by Mina Kimes. But the last category today, Zach, is worst use of clock management.
Ooh, okay.
Is it, of course, Matt Eberflus, who loses everything because he doesn't know how timeouts work. By the way, what a run from Matt Eberflus at the end. I would also include not teaching his team how to defend a Hail Mary, not working on
bad.
kick blocking.
I think that's
skill.
worse.
So a lot of end the game things for Matt Eberflus, but is that a worse use of clock management than good buddy of mine, Will Howard, for getting out of fucking tell time at the end of Oregon, Ohio State, fucking sliding with 3 seconds left.
That one is.
I needed to include it.
Inexcusable.
It's unbelievable. It's so much worse than Eberflus.
Oh, for sure. Well, Eberflus, I still don't think it's his fault at all.
No.
Like he told everyone the situation. Caleb Williams fucked it up. He thought he could do what he wanted he changed the line. Changed the play at the line. Will Howard, like he is done. Like no NFL team's like gonna give him any responsibility.
No. It's unbelievable how much he's fricked himself because he's been fine all year. He's been great in moments, but it was like, and then it looked so bad because after the game, he's like, well, I just saw that I could run. Yeah, man, because they were letting you run. You had 5 seconds left.
You should have kept running. Like at that point.
And he like half slid. Oh, it was bad.
It was bad.
The Eberflus thing is wild just because putting yourself in that moment on Thanksgiving where it's like, oh my God, the Bears are going to do nothing. Like it's like such a bad ending. But it's like, I don't know. Is it closer if we include the Hail Mary with it? Like the scenes of the one cornerback posing to the crowd.
That was... It's insane. I mean, that is Eberflus's fault, but also because like it's a top down. Like he's responsible for these guys. He should know. Like that player should know. Like if he does something wrong, he's going to get his ass kicked. Yeah. And apparently, there's no accountability. That's insane. That there's that video, that exact shot of him talking shit with the fan. And then having be like, he had to run it last time.
They're throwing it towards me. Sir, it's the only option they had. Yeah. The only thing with Eberflus, at least Will Howard, you see a Will Howard interview after the Oregon game. Poor kid's fucking haunted. Eberflus after the game. We did everything we could.
Well, I assume Will Howard is scared for his life because, or at least was. Yeah. Because Ryan Day apparently has to pay an armed guard to stand outside his house because he keeps losing to Michigan.
Yeah.
Just beat Michigan, bud.
Just beat Michigan.
That's it. That's all you got to do. That's what Ohio people do. It's like, yeah, we won't try to come and kill your family if you beat Michigan. This was your year. Just do it.
Or work on the flag plan. Do something, like, can we have a chat? But Zach, that was the year. that was the year.
What a strange year. Not much has changed, and everything has changed. I mean, we talked about a couple weeks ago, episode 200. We started at the week. Patrick Mahomes came in, made his first start against the Denver Broncos. Now, fast forward, last show 2024, Chiefs wrap up their seed. They play the Broncos, and the starting quarterback is sitting once again. Time is a flat circle. Nothing has changed, and it's Carson Wentz starting, which is also fun.
Yeah. To end the conversation, talking about the NFL today, what's Carson Wentz going to do? Is he going to ball out, or are they going to roll over?
Sounds like they're going to play Carson Wentz for a half, which tells me Carson Wentz is too good. That's all I know. They need the Broncos in the playoffs. We don't want fucking a Tua-less Dolphins team.
Yeah.
And then we don't care about the Bengals. What are we talking? I mean, what it probably says is we want the Bengals out or in the playoffs, right? Like, I assume that's better for ratings, but
yeah, I think the Chiefs don't want the Bengals in. I think it's,
maybe that's the Chiefs hedging their bets, being like, hey, Carson Wentz probably not going to play the full game. So if Carson Wentz starts playing terribly, let's rip it. Let's get the other guy in.
I think it is literally, I mean, it's the more boring answer, but I think it is literally, listen, the one thing that's almost screwed us in the past in the playoffs is Mahomes has to miss a game. Let's not make our third string backup have to be, they're kind of protecting Wentz too. So,
I mean, I would rather play the Broncos than the Bengals, though. Bengals can't cover anybody worth shit, but I don't want to play Jamar Chase right now.
No, and after T. Higgins is on a fucking roll. Khalil Herbert's out for blood.
Chase Brown gets hurt because he's like, I was supposed to slide. And then the Bengals, after him getting hurt, were like, you know what? We actually don't need to slide Chase, right? We're good. We're fine. Thanks, though.
That was bad. I hate that I'm laughing at this, but football is the only sport where it's like sometimes people's bodies forget what to do. That was one of those moments where it's like you can get so hurt by just your body being like, fuck. The air went out of I don't know if you watched last night when Jaden Daniels got wrapped up and his knee buckled.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's one fat D tackle almost ruined the future of a whole franchise.
Legitimately, they would have had to change their name again.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of RG3, they've never recovered.
No, not since then. Any final thoughts, final words for 2024?
My last one is, for the love of God, Boise State or Arizona State. One of you's got to knuckle up. One of you has to.
Arizona State's talking shit. I don't think they have a chance, but I love it.
By the way, Boise State, it's got to be you.
It's gotta.
Cam Scatterboot to the side. That guy's a loser. Sorry. I'm out on him. I'm out on him.
You out on Scatterboot?
I'm out on Scatterboot. As soon as he was like, I'm the best running back in the country. Fuck you. No, you're number 2. You're a good number 2. I don't even know if you're number 2. But
he's not.
You're not Ashton Genty. Just let him have his moment. Ashton Genty didn't. That was what made me mad. Ashton Genty doesn't get his moment in the Heisman spotlight, and now he's got some white guy coming out here being like, "What about me?" And it's like,
yeah,
come on. You can't even let Ashton Genty have a moment of like, "Yes, I'm the best running back."
He needs to perform though. Genty needs to run for 200.
Yeah. I know.
If he comes out and runs for like 95 even, everyone's going to be like,
run for 250.
Oh, what a loser. However, Colorado getting boat raced by BYU, also not the best look.
No, bad. Listen, it's all tough. I want some good games. That's what I'm really rooting for, but I do I need some upsets, and the other 2 game upsets don't really matter. So should be good games, but they're not like, they're in division upsets. So we'll see.
I'm going to protest Notre Dame, Georgia. I'm going to do that for this show and for our country. I don't want that matchup. If anyone wants to follow me, I will probably be finishing up season 2 of Squid Game. I'm not watching that fucking game. I don't want either team to win. Screw both of them.
It's so true. I think the better thing is Georgia boat racism, but we'll see.
I don't know. Like, I would love it if every SEC team is out immediately.
By the way, couldn't be rooting more for Oregon.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't want Ohio State either.
Sorry, Will Howard. Zach, my closing.
Can we let Army in? Let Army try.
Army should have been in if everyone on Marshall agrees to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Can they get in? South Carolina. Can they get a shot? They got screwed.
What did Ole Miss?
That's true. No. Ole Miss screwed themselves. I'm out on Lake Kiffin. Zach, my final New Year's gift to you is I do have one more secret category, which is who did Jake jinx more? I've got two great candidates for you here.
I have one in mind, but continue.
Option A, JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, that's pretty immediate. That was pretty despicable what you did.
Wish still on him. Maybe both got him hurt and got his replacement somehow guaranteed. So I did a lot of work on that one. Zach, I got to tell you though, I don't think he has a chance because you haven't thought of who my other one is, which is
Toby Keith.
Toby Keith. Jake killed Toby Keith.
You may have killed JJ McCarthy too. I haven't seen him, but yeah, that's an episode title. Did Jake kill Toby? Yeah, he did. Like that was insane. What you did.
Both of them. And that, by the way, they were pretty close to each other. It was in a hot stretch of doom.
What a terrible sports year, but we lost Toby Keith and Jimmy Buffett in the same year. The vibes are low.
Oh, and right at the end, we lost fucking our nicest, worst president.
He's been dead for years. Don't give me that. I'm glad we pronounced the time of death now, but dude, how many flies did he swallow before we're like, yeah, I think he's done?
It is crazy. These are two things my dad has said. Jimmy Carter is my dad's favorite president.
Yeah, he loves them.
These are two things my dad has said about Jimmy Carter this year. A, I hope Jimmy lives forever. I'm going to be so sad when he goes. And also B, I can't believe Jimmy outlived both grandparents.
Spoiler, Pete, he didn't.
That's true. That's true. And by the way, he beat it out. But it's insane. It's insane. Lost him. Willie Mays went this year for baseball. Yeah,
that's true.
So
Billy Mays went a while ago.
Billy Mays went the same year as Michael Jackson because that's how my brain works.
Oh, that's a bad year too. Was that 2007?
Yeah. By the way, took us too long to figure out doctors. Don't trust them.
Hey, I'm right. Trust me. Been preaching that quite a bit.
I don't know if I want that to. Hey, I'm gonna put on the record. I don't want that.
I'm anti-vax too. What are we talking about? That's okay.
I did watch Enigma, by the way.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?
Oh, it is good. It's a really good insight to Aaron Rodgers. I actually think it it makes you appreciate him in a way. Not gonna lie, did a little bit of a jump scare when all of a sudden I heard the voice of one and only RFK Jr.
Yeah, he didn't need. He was in the preview. Don't need him. I'm good without him.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're on a hike together.
Scariest place to be with our RFK is on a hike.
Yeah, it's just like. By the way, bad side. I don't care who you are. If you ever start talking to me like this, we're gonna have a real talk. Which is RFK has a line where he's like, "Yeah, it's just to listen to people's stories and connecting with people is the best part of this job. I listen to everybody and they tell me how much they've lost trust in the system, and that's when I realized it's got to be me." It's like you can hear option A without jumping to option B.
If it's not me, then who? You know what? I've had that talk with myself a few times.
You want to listen? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's sometimes appropriate. Saving the world, RFK, brainworm guy. I don't know.
I like the self-confidence though. Like, you know what? I can crack the code here.
I like the self-confidence. He's season 1, Jamie Tart. We've got some development to go, and he's lived a life.
That is true. Season 1 Jamie Tart, very different than season 3 Jamie Tart.
Well, I don't want to be anybody.
Can and will need to be had.
100%. Why do I want to be anybody but me?
Oh, God. That's, you know what? Show. That's the vibes we need to carry into 2025. Okay.
That's right.
Let's TK, JB, and everybody else who had high vibes. JC, I guess. Jimmy Carter, not Jesus Christ. All dead. all dead this year. All party animals in their own right.
Yeah.
We need to have more Jamie Tart energy in 2025. Okay. That's what this show is going to embody. That's a promise. Okay. Okay. And that's, we're writing the acceptance speech on air live right now.
That's right.
Can't wait for what? When's the award show? Fucking June. It might as well be. Why is there such a delay in counting digital votes? Volume 1.
By the way, take your time as long as it has the right result.
Yeah. Count it once, count it twice, count it thrice. Don't care. Just announce it. What is that? Okay, little ad in the chat from one BL Ghost. Okay, that's our cue to go.
That's our cue. Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Shout out Jimmy Buffett. Goodbye.